Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening at our City Council meeting. If we could get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Brigham?
Here.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Here.
Councilmember Walter?
Here.
Councilmember Bagby?
She's here. I think she's in the bathroom.
Mayor Paula?
Here.
And Samantha? Here.
Okay. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we, any report out of closed session, City Attorney?
Mayor, the council considered a few items under a closed session, but there was no reportable action taken tonight.
Okay, thank you. Conflict of interest, any council member have anything to declare? Seeing none, okay. Agenda review during regular session, any changes and or deletions to the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, we're up to public comment. Any person wishing to speak to the city council on any item not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Members of the public have the right to speak on any item on the council agenda during that item. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the city council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item that's not listed on the agenda. Each person wishing to speak, please come to the podium when advised and speak directly into the microphone. Also, there's a pad there. Please sign your name for the record, and you would have 3 minutes. Would anybody like to address the city council on any item not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public comment, move on to the proclamations. We have none. So the consent calendar, all items under consent calendar will be considered together by one action of the council unless any council member or member of the public requests that an item be removed and considered separately. Does any council member have any requests? Seeing none, any member of the public have any requests? Seeing none, we will close that, and I would like to move
approval.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have motion made by Councilmember Brigham, second by Vice Mayor Russell. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Brigham?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Walter?
Aye.
Councilmember Bagby? Aye. Mayor Paula?
Aye.
Samantha?
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no communications. We do have a public hearing. It's a resolution. Let me just open this here. It's resolution number 008, 2018, establish an accessory dwelling unit, ADU, development impact fee for future development within the city of Cloverdale. It's our Assistant City Manager, Paul Kelly. I'm sorry, David Kelly. I covered both there. I mean, I got the City Manager, Paul.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, honorable council members. The item before you is a resolution, and it is resolution number 009, 2018, the purpose of which is to establish a development impact fee for accessory dwelling units that are developed in the future within the city of Cloverdale. The report that's included in the agenda packet establishing the proposed ADU fee was reviewed by the council at your meeting on December 12th, 2017. At that time, the purpose of the review was to obtain your direction and input regarding implementation of the proposed fee. By way of background, the intent of the fee is to address the development impacts associated with these new units that are now permitted under the ordinance that the council adopted in September of 2017, which was our strategy of complying with state government code that was amended due to SB 1069 and AB 2299. At the time that the council reviewed it, staff indicated that the total ADU fee that was calculated by Colgan Associates was $14,843. The methodology that was used to calculate that fee was to look at our existing development impact fees, calculate the impact of the ADU, making various assumptions in terms of the number of occupants of those ADUs. And what the staff report shows is what the individual fees are that make up the total ADU fee. And that's included in Table 1 in your agenda report. Council, at your meeting in December 12th, 2017, again, reviewed that fee and considered various options for implementation. The goal of which, I think, is what council expressed, was adopting a fee that would incentivize construction of ADUs, and there was some various options that the council reviewed at that time. Ultimately, council settled on implementation of a tiered rate structure that implemented the total ADU fee over a period of 5 years based on a rate tier of 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100%. That proposed tier impact rate tier is included in Table 2 in your agenda report, and it sets forth those dollar amounts for implementation of that fee over time. If the council moves forward and adopts the resolution tonight, it would put in place that ADU fee, and that ADU fee would become effective in 60 days, a 60-day timeframe. What we do under the ordinance would, or excuse me, under the resolution would adjust that fee starting July 1 of every subsequent year, along with the other fees that are adjusted annually based on either the Consumer Price Index or the Engineering News Record. So this fee for year 1 would be maintained until July 1, 2019, if adopted as proposed. It is staff's belief that, based on council's direction, that the proposed ADU fees that's set forth in the Table 2 really does incentivize the construction of accessory dwelling units. And so we hope that we took your direction, and what we've proposed is in accordance with council's strategic direction on the implementation of the fee. In preparation for the meeting, we did place a notice in the local newspaper. It was published twice. The report was also available at City Hall, as well as posted at the library for anybody that wanted to review the report. And obviously, it was included in the agenda packet for review by the public. At this time, staff really doesn't have any more information to report to the council. Our recommendation is that you do adopt the resolution that would establish the accessory dwelling unit impact fee, and if you disagree with that approach, provide alternative direction to staff.
Thank you. Questions from council? Mary Ann?
I have one. When does this actually go into effect? I know there's some people.
60 days.
But, so 60 days, and then
July 1st.
is good then for these fees will not be what the people who now are building a few tiny homes in town, are they paying these fees? Or have we given them that discount, or no?
They're currently in process, some accessory dwelling units, and the majority of which were indicated that the fees would be deferred until issuance of certificate of occupancy. So if the fees are in effect at that time, when they're ready for final inspection or issuance of a C of O, this would be the applicable amount under the current rate schedule would be the $29.68. And most all the applicants had been advised of that tiered fee, and there has been no concerns expressed about that fee amount.
Great.
Any other questions?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Just one, David. You said there's a few. Do you know how many we have in the hopper right now? Just ballpark if you had to guess.
I think there's currently 3 off the top of my head that we're processing, and then there's various folks that, residents that are kind of kicking the tires, or they're kind of in the design process. So there's a real interest, I think, in development of accessory dwelling units in Cloverdale and in the county in general.
Good. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. I'd like to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Would any member in the audience like to address the city council on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. We have a resolution here. We would like-
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer the resolution by title only. City of Cloverdale, City Council Resolution 009, 2018, establishing an accessory dwelling unit impact fee for future development within the city of Cloverdale.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so motion by Councilmember Walter, second by Councilmember Bagby. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Walter?
Aye.
Councilmember Bagby?
Aye.
Mayor Paula?
Aye.
And Samantha.
Okay, moving right along to item number 6. It's resolution number 011-2018, authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute a professional services agreement with Cal Engineering and Geology Set, Inc. for providing engineering design and
Wait, you skipped one.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, we're on number 5.
Oh, okay.
New business.
Well, let's scratch that one, go right up to number 5, under new business, a resolution number 01, oh, my glasses on, I can't make that number out. 010, 2018, approving the engagement of Terry E. Craig, CPA, to perform auditing and financial reporting services for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. Susan.
Staff is requesting that we continue with Mr. Krieg for one more year. The California State Assembly bill requires that we change after 1819, but we'd like to continue with him up until that point and then go out with an RFP for another auditing service. But this agenda summary is requesting that we continue with Mr. Krieg and at the same rate as he has been since 2010. He has never increased his rate, and we would just like to request that he continue.
Thank you. I know he's done a real good job of catching the city up. Yeah, we're in some hard times. Questions from council? Questions, okay.
I do, Mr. Mayor, just,
Go
Susie, you mentioned that we can engage his services one more year before we have to go out for an RFP. If he responds, can we rehire him again?
No, because he is a sole proprietor, and the Assembly bill is very specific in that you can only use the same audit firm or the leading auditor. If they have more than one auditor that they can rotate, then you can use the same company. But since he's the only auditor, then we have to change.
Well, you know, I understand why. I mean, they'd like a second set of eyes to look at the numbers, I'm sure. But, you know, we've always in the past had such a problem getting a CPA for a reasonable price to come up and do our books. It's been like pulling teeth. But ever since Terry's been doing it, you know, we can afford him, and he's punctual, and he doesn't treat us like a second citizen. So that is somewhat disappointing. So.
Well, perhaps if I might, he may have a referral for us. Good people usually know good people.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments from council? No? Okay, I'd like to open this up for public input. Anybody want to address the city council on this item? This would be the time to do it. Seeing none, I'll close the public input, bring it back to city council. We have a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, a resolution, I'll read the resolution by title only. City of Cloverdale City Council Resolution Number 010-2018, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale approving the engagement of Terry E. Krieg, CPA, to perform auditing and financial reporting services for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so motion by Vice Mayor Russell, second by Councilmember Brigham. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, could I get a roll call vote, please?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Walter?
Aye.
Councilmember Bagby?
Aye.
Mayor Paula?
Aye.
And Samantha?
Okay, moving right along to item number 6, resolution number 011-2018, authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute a professional services agreement with Cal Engineering and Geology, Inc. for providing engineering design and construction support services for the Vista View slip-out repair project. And that would be our city engineer.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mayor and honorable city council members. This is a continuation of the design to do the repairs on Vista View Drive. As you know, a year ago, we had the major storms that came in and we had a slip out there at the road. So it's been an ongoing issue. We've been maintaining the road as best we can with our abilities, but now it's time to move into another phase of designing a permanent solution up there. So this is just hiring the engineer, basically the geotechnical firm and the engineer to come together and design a solution for us so we can propose it to FEMA and Cal OES for their blessing, basically, get them to accept it. So again, this is a firm that we issued our request for a proposal for design firms that had specific background in this kind of repair design and also working with the federal agencies and getting funding for it. So they're following the protocol necessary to secure the funding. And then they'll be designing, basically coming up with a bid package for construction. So it'll be done within 6 months, probably less, 4 months. We'll be going out to bid thereafter. After, of course, the only unknown here is how long it will take for Cal OES and FEMA to review the bid package.
Great. Thank you. And funding, when you mentioned that, would it be 100% funding, or is there a match to that?
No, there's a 75% federal government, another 15 point, I can't remember exact numbers, but it's the additional 75% remaining of the 25%, and then we're responsible for about 8%.
8%.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Questions from council?
I just had a quick one, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for asking that question, because I was curious about that, too, and looking at the summary. I would imagine we would have no problems getting the amount that we are entitled to from FEMA. I mean, it seems to me. But there's always a possibility, no?
I'd say that with a caveat.
Is there anything that we should know about in advance that you're comfortable telling us about?
None at this point. We're following all the rules necessary to,
I figured,
secure the funding.
Just
And
have to
we're-
keep, because they're under a lot of pressure, so I'm wondering, because it's
Yeah.
not exactly fire-related. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's just, and again, they will have a chance to participate in their design review, and they'd
Yeah.
like to do that very much so.
Well, but I know you'll do a good job. Thank you.
Any other questions, Vice Mayor?
Thank you.
Mary Ann,
sir.
any questions?
No. Called it.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and open this up, public input. Would anybody like to address the city council on this item? This would be the time to do so. Seeing none, we'll close the public input, bring it back to council. We have a resolution.
I think Paul has a comment.
Mr. Mayor,
You have a comment?
just a quick comment, and it
Yes.
kind of falls along the question of reimbursement. I know this is a project where we have some very interested neighbors that live up on Vista View, and the council did ask a question about reimbursement. The challenge that we face is unless you follow the process that's set forth by the federal government and submit the request for proposals, go through the proposal scoring process, make sure that they have their chance to review and comment all the way through the process, which takes delays and time, you risk not getting your 75% reimbursement. Now, on the same weekend that this storm damage happened, there was some storm damage down on Geysers Road and some storm damage up on Hot Springs Road. We're not alone. The county is going through the same process as we are, and those two storm damage sites are still in temporary condition, as well as Vista View. So I'm just adding that for the edification of the council and the community that might be watching on video, is if we do not go about this in the proper way, we do not get 75% reimbursement from the federal government. And it takes, that red tape takes time. So I think, Mark is right on, and his group is right on target. And other storm damage that occurred that same weekend is still waiting permanent repair in other jurisdictions.
No, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, we have a resolution here. Would somebody like to introduce that?
I'll read the resolution.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll offer the resolution by title only. City of Cloverdale City Council Resolution Number 011-2018. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Cal Engineering and Geology, Inc. for design and preparation of construction documents, services, Vista View slip-out repair project.
Second.
Okay, so we have a resolution offered by Councilmember Brigham, second by Councilmember Walter. Any discussion on the resolution? Okay, seeing none, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Aye.
Councilmember Walter?
Aye.
Councilmember Bagby?
Aye.
Mayor Paula?
Aye.
And Samantha?
Great, thank you. Okay, item number 7, distribution of fiscal year 2018-2019 goal-setting scoring forms for group technique. What is?
Numeric ranking.
Thank you. Yeah, ranking. So, city manager.
Thank you, Council. This is the follow-up item to your February 15th goal-setting workshop, where 70 goal statements were gone through that night, and a lot of combining and eliminating, and discussion was done to understand all those goal statements. The council finished that night with the Planning Commission by going through what we call a multi-voting process. We also call that vote by the dot. And so what we did is we took everything that got at least one dot during the vote by the dot process and brought that through to make this list that's attached to the agenda item before you tonight. There's now 26 goals. We've assigned alpha characters to each one of the goals, so it's A through Z. We tried to keep them in roughly the same order as they were before, but there was a lot of combining and rephrasing that was done, so they might be a little bit out of order from what you saw on February 15th, but Myra Elazio, who helped me with this, and I tried really hard to keep it about the same order. So the next step is what we call nominal group technique, which is a process where we ask the council members to assign a numeric value of 26 to 1 to each of the goal statements. And in this process, 26 is the best and your most favorite goal. 27 is your second most favorite goal. And you take that all the way down to 1, which is your lowest priority goal. And what we'll do is take those numbers, when we receive them from the council members, we'll add them all up, and then we'll average them by 5, and we'll be able to give you back a list of all the 26 goals and give them a numeric ranking. And we try to concentrate on the top 10 goals, but I think we had some questions that night. We concentrate on the top 10 goals, but we also look further down the list. So this is, I know the council's been through this process before, and I've asked that you submit your goal forms by Monday, March 12th, back to me, or Myra. And then the idea is we'll get back to you probably your second meeting in March with the final top 10 list with everything done, and just in time for us to go into budget season. Well, we'll already be in budget season a little bit, but not too far down the process. So if you want, I can tomorrow have this list sent to you by email, rather than have it in the agenda packet. If that's helpful too, I can have Myra send it to you all, and that's good. And I know we worked really hard to, some of the goals had been really seriously rephrased, and I know Myra worked with a couple of the council members to make sure we got the right flavor of what the language in that goal. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good. No, thank you, City Manager. Any questions from council? Yes, Vice Mayor.
I don't have a question so much as a comment. I completed my list, and in doing so, it took me a great deal of time, which surprised me because it hasn't in the past very much. But this time, I felt that, and I felt particularly responsible myself because I should have seen it when we were in the workshop. We did a pretty good job of combining goals that either duplicated one another or where a goal was perhaps a sub-item under a larger one, that kind of thing. And yet, I noticed here, and I don't know if everybody felt that way, they may not have, that particularly in the area which interested me a lot, communications, outreach, promotion, I found at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the goals, one way or another, related directly to that. And so it became difficult because I had to choose, since it's so important to me, how do I express that and not waste a whole lot of really important numbers? Because when you get right down to it, number 26 down through about 17, those are the hot numbers. That's your top 10. And those are the ones you really go through and say, okay, let me be sure I've got the ones that matter most to me, or that appear to be better than anything I've yet thought of. And there were a couple of times there, more than a couple of times, when I looked and thought, you know what, I'm going to bump my own goal because I like this one a heck of a lot better. And so I just wanted to comment that maybe next time, I know I'm going to look at it a little more seriously from the standpoint of trying to combine more so that we don't, in a sense, waste those 10 points, and also so that things don't get distorted, because what I found was that one of the things that I won't name which one, actually there were two, that I ended up rating quite very low simply because there was something that superseded them in that same general category or some group of things that seemed to express what I wanted more. I thank you for nodding, because I want to make sure this made sense, because
No, it does, and we really did a lot this time. We ended up calling them mega goals.
Yeah.
I think, from a strategic point of view, mega goals, you do have to be cautious, because what happens with mega goals is there's so much in them that it's difficult to know when you've achieved it.
Yes, exactly.
And holding each other accountable for that goal when there's so much in it, because you can pick off one or two pieces of it, but may not be able to get the whole thing. So there was a lot. I think this year more than any other year, the council created some very large goals. I think one of them around emergency response and
that one was
public safety. That's a big one. And I think the other one was in and around city finance operations and improvement of information technology was another one that had there's a lot in that one.
And there was one other point I want to make very quickly. Not until I do this do I really realize occasionally, and again, it didn't happen so much last year, but it happened a lot this year to me with a couple of the goals, particularly one related to public works, where I thought, do I really have enough information? Do I really understand this well enough to be able to grade it as it should be graded, particularly in light of the other 25? And so I think next time I don't know how the others feel, but I'm going to work a little harder to get more information. So I make sure, for example, with the goal about emergency, we have enough information based upon what's happening every place around the county and what we've already learned to know this one's going to go in X number, however you rate it, but you're pretty comfortable when you rate it because you feel you know enough. So I think next year we maybe need to do a little more, we need to get a little more information on why the goal was submitted and what the statement of the goal really says about what it will achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Marianne, any comments?
No.
Okay. Melanie, anything?
I did. I had a thought after the meeting, of course, and that never happens. On item K, encourage city departments to invest in solar panels for majority of the power needs. I realized afterwards that was probably, that could be a potential tie-in with our desire to heat the pool, and, finding out what options are available for that. But I'm wondering if we could, is it too late to merge anything? I'm just wondering if maybe K and G should be merged as far as just making it one, so it has more of a chance to pass. Because, again, G is review facilities procedures for possible greenhouse gas reductions and improved energy and water efficiency in fleet buildings and operations. And then we're saying encourage city departments to invest in solar panels. I think that's one goal, because it's,
Yeah, that's one I found
So-
too, in the long list of.
and I would really hate to see either of those
there were a lot of
not
them.
get the votes, because,
So let me just suggest this then, maybe. It sounds like there may be some feedback that we need to kind of maybe review these and get them back to the city manager.
K and,
And so,
I've got a whole
city
bunch.
manager, would you be okay if we send comments within the next, we could set a due date to you, you can consolidate those and resend this form for rating?
Right. We can do that if that's the council's direction, of course. It does mean we have to really reformat the whole form, and it's going to cause, it will cause a delay, but if that's the council's pleasure, we can, now, the form will not be brought back for another council meeting at that. We'll do our best to interpret comments, and hopefully we don't receive any conflicting comments, and we'll do our best to interpret what we receive. I'd like to say,
So-
if we could get those comments from everybody by Monday.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's more consolidation,
It
not
is.
necessarily changing the wording,
Yeah,
and,
because there are
That's just-
3 or 4 of them that are
do you
really
think
very.
I thought there was one that, and I would be happy, and then I think I'd like to vote afterwards if we can. But I thought you
I've
did a
got-
great job of consolidating them on the fly and in this packet, but I just kind of saw a couple of places where I would be, heartbroken if it didn't get a vote because it got split and then didn't get into the top 10. That's that's my concern.
so,
And it's a deserving top 10 item, so.
so if we could review this, get all our feedback to the city manager, we'll leave it to your discretion. If you think there's conflicts between council, then if we just get it on the next agenda to clarify it. If not, I would say, ask that you just send the form out with the modifications.
Yeah, what we'll do is remodify it, and then you have to reorder it, and then, of course, you might go from 1 to, 24.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
So-
it might be A through Y.
So is council in agreement with that?
Yeah, I've got like 8 of them that could be combined.
Okay.
I think,
So,
or 9.
since it is on the agenda, I wanted to open up for public comment. Would anybody like to address the city council on our goals? Yeah, thank you. Please sign the form.
Jeannie Cox, Cloverdale. If this is going to have to get redone a little bit, I'm looking at item B about the survey, and then D also refers to the survey. And I think those could probably be combined too, with one of them is about the outreach to the working families and Latinos, and then D is carrying it a little bit further. So possibly those two could be combined also.
Great. No, thank you for that.
Thank you, yeah, thank you for observing that, because B, D, I, M, and Q actually all kind of go together.
So would anybody else like to address the city council on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment, bring it back to council. So the direction will be, we have until Monday to submit our comments to the city manager. And I would say Monday by the end of business, or would you like it before?
No, because probably going to have Myra working on this project, helping us on this project, so trying to remember. Myra's taking that day off, isn't she? So, it's best to probably try to get it to me as early in the morning as you can.
So say, if we can get it to the city manager before noon on Monday.
That would be fantastic.
Okay, so that'd be the the direction. If you don't receive it, then there's no comments from that council member, and you move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and
So-
I would only be bringing it back if there was any conflicts.
Okay, and then, assuming there's no conflict, we'll get the cleaned-up copy, and we'll be rating them accordingly. Thank you. Okay, any other comments on this? Okay, we'll move on then. Okay, subcommittee reports. We'll start with the airport. Councilmember Baggett.
Our next meeting is June 5th.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Administration, Police, Councilmember.
Me.
Got it.
Our next meeting is March 22nd
Okay,
at 2.
great. Planning and Community Development, Councilmember Bagby.
Yes, we met on the 20th. We directed staff to bring back information on standards regarding gun shops, asked for options regarding revising inclusionary housing ordinance or inclusionary ordinance in lieu fees, and our next meeting is scheduled to be the 17th, but I think we're moving that, and that's still TBA.
Right. Public Works, Councilmember Walter.
I think it's me.
Actually, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's okay.
Okay,
That's all right.
Councilmember, or Vice Mayor Russell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Our next meeting is March 27th, 10:30 a.m. at City Hall.
Okay, great. Joint City Fire District, and that would be mine, and our next meeting is June 11th at 5:30, and it's going to be at the Fire District headquarters. And the Joint City School District, and that would be mine, and our next meeting would be March 19th. So now we're down to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Bagby.
Well, certainly. I was unable to get a written report in, so I'll just give you a quick overview. On February 15th, I attended our council goal-setting meeting. On the 16th, I attended the LoCN luncheon in Santa Rosa, where it was, the program was the Sheriff's Candidate Forum, which was a lively debate. That afternoon, I also worked at the Citrus Fair booth. I attended the parade and again manned the booth on the 17th. On February 21st, I attended the Sonoma County Waste Management Board meeting. And then in the afternoon, the Russian River Water Association Executive Board meeting with our local water board staff, which is a quarterly lunch where we get together and try to be on the same page. On the 22nd, I attended a breakfast in Santa Rosa at the Family Justice Center, and immediately followed by the Russian River Water Association Board meeting. And then I think that's it. I think after that, I caught my breath.
Good.
All right.
Good report. Thank you. Any questions from council? Seeing none. Okay. Councilmember Walter.
I'm fine, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So is Vice Mayor Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've submitted a report, and I'll go through a few things. On February 13th, on a Tuesday, as our city's representative to the Health Action Council of Sonoma County Department of Health Services, I worked with Department of Health Services analyst Beth Dadko, who's a good friend to Cloverdale, to organize and co-chair a well-attended meeting of local community and public service leader organizations as we continue to focus on forming a Cloverdale Health Action Chapter. The meeting details are available in a 217 Reveille article. I want to thank them very much for including that. They've been very good about reporting our work, and I've had nice comments on it. On the 15th, I, of course, did the goal setting, and on the 17th, well, the whole weekend was wonderful because it was the Citrus Fair. But I have to tell you, I particularly enjoyed serving with Planning Commissioner Turner at the city's booth in the exhibit hall, and we had a lot of fun chatting about Cloverdale and giving away wonderful little tchotchkes. They were all ahead, particularly, and I love that, the little piggy banks, really big, except a lot of people my age asked for them. I'm not quite sure what that means, but we're going to let that go. Yeah. Reese Foxon and I, Library Commissioner Foxon and I, as you know, have been writing Cloverdale comments together for the last year and a half, and it's been in the Sonoma County Gazette for many years, and we are paying a tribute to retiring City Manager Kaler this March in our column. On the 21st was at a Smart Board meeting, and on Thursday, dropped by Starbucks to have coffee with a cop event, and it was very nice. It really was. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I wanted to thank our police department personnel. They're always very receptive to questions, comments, and very open. You know, it was very, very nice atmosphere. And as the city council liaison to the Chamber of Commerce, I also attended a regular mixer at Cloverdale High School, and I won't go into details because I could be here for an hour. It was so fabulous. But we had a chance to take a look at the makerspace. And I wrote here, it's a knock your socks off example of what a 21st century public high school vocational career development training center can be. And that's very dear to my heart. Last but not least, I will circulate this. I'd forgotten to include it, but Cloverdale can be proud of itself. This is a report on building energy inventory updates. As a chair of Sonoma County Transit Authority / Regional Climate Protection Authority, I was very proud that Cloverdale was one of all the jurisdictions here that reduced our emissions from building energy usage. Not everyone reduced them as significantly as we did, so it's something to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. My report is in the packet. It's a couple things I just want to highlight. One is Councilmember Walter and I are continuing our work trying to, with the school district and the partnership with the county to get the swimming pool heated. And a lot of things have happened since I last briefed you. I had a conference call with the head Public Works Director from the county, Carolyn Judy. Very receptive, very, very helpful, so we're moving on. Basically, the county's somewhat committed to 50% funding the cost. The school district's on board for 25%, and the city, of course, is going to be the other 25%. So it's a nice partnership to get a state-of-the-art solar heating system for that pool. So, and we're looking at the feasibility of extending the swim season and working with the school district so they can actually have swim classes there. So there's a lot of new things going on with that pool. It's very exciting. And right now, our assistant city manager is going to be working with, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's the second in command at the county public works. He was part of the conference call. And so we're going to be working strategically on the next steps. So we'll keep you in the conversation on that, but this is moving. Also, we got a commitment from them that they're going to have a handicap lift chair installed in that pool, functioning before the swim season opens. So that's moving forward as well. So we're really excited about that. Continuing our work, again, Councilmember Walter and I are on that ad hoc as well with the Boys and Girls Club through the school, working with the school district. We're meeting again tomorrow, trying to figure out a way where no child will be put on a waiting list, and we have 17 that are out there, and these kids need a safe environment to go to, and there's 17 kids that the families are very stressed because they both work, and they're out there, and they have their children, and they have nowhere to put them, so for them to go safely. So we just need to get it fixed. I've been working with the Reuser, Bruce and Darlene Reuser, who have been big supporters of the Boys and Girls Club as well. So hopefully we have a strategy. We're meeting again tomorrow. We're going to, again, keep moving on that. So our goal is to get that club open to everybody that wants to get in there.
I just wanted to say that I remember years ago when I was working with the Boys and Girls Club a lot, we just went and browbeat all the service clubs and made it almost like it was a competition. And I think we got like over 20 kids sponsored.
Yeah.
Just by the service clubs, getting them all the heads in one room. And they sort of shamed each other into it with a little help from us. And it turned out to be a really good thing because they really kind of almost mentored and adopted some of those kids practically. As far as just showing up and playing basketball and doing stuff, it was a good method to, because we were about 25 short at that point.
Well, that's good, and we'll definitely take that back to our ad hoc committee tomorrow because we're structuring a letter that's going to go out to a lot of people, and hopefully it's going to.
It's hard.
It is very hard. So, but I wanted to, and the last thing I just wanted to point out, you notice I went to I sit on the board of directors for the League of California Cities. We had a 2-day meeting, and in my next report will be an outline of the strategic goals with the league and where we're at with those, and so that will be part of the next update. So I just wanted to let you know on that. And two other things I just want to comment on. One is a reminder that March 9th, we have that we're hosting the League of California Cities Redwood Empire Division meeting here in Cloverdale. And the reception will be at the CPAC. No, it's next door, at the History Center. It's going to be at the History Center. And then the dinner is going to be at Zinni's Diner. They're all prepared for it, but please make sure you RSVP to Linda. We need to get that information and an accurate head count. All senior staff as well as council are encouraged to attend since we are the host city, and we need to get that information. This last thing I just want to comment on, AB Assembly Bill 1661 requires all city council members, as well as there's another bill that requires all city employees to go through periodic sexual harassment training. And Remeth has coordinated that training, and there's going to be 6 sessions offered, 2 in Ukiah. It's going to be March 20th. The first session's at 9 a.m. to 12. The second session will be 1 to 4, either or, not both, that you would go to. There's going to be 1 session up in Fortuna, and I won't give you that because I don't think anybody wants to go there, but there on May 9th, there's going to be 2 sessions in Healdsburg. So either March 20th or May 9th, and I'm going to ask the city attorney if that applies to planning commissioners as well for this sector. Does AB, what is it, AB 1661 apply to, I know it applies to council members. How about planning commissioners?
And that's been a good discussion that we've actually had, and the legislation itself had that they receive compensation, so officials that receive compensation or some kind of stipend, and I believe that the city, planning commissioners do not receive compensation.
Yes. We need to let Linda know. I'm going to say that next, yeah. So again, just to recap, thank you for that. So currently they are not, but they may be. So I would suggest that they be asked and encouraged to attend because it's the spirit of the law, just to be in compliance.
And I recommend that, and that was what I was going to say. A lot of other cities actually also have other boards and commissions that interact with folks. You know, I have other jurisdictions that even their Parks and Recs committee that absolutely has no, you know, there's no pay there, it's completely volunteers, but they even include them in the training. And again, it's the spirit of it, and it's kind of things that especially, you know, nowadays, and it's just things to be aware of.
Yeah, no, thank you. So March 20th from 9 to 12 or 1 to 4, and May 9th in Healdsburg from 9 to 12 or 1 to 4. And if you are able to attend, let Linda, our city clerk, know, and she will RSVP that. Well, Fortuna is a little far, but if you want to go to Fortuna, that's May 2nd. Yeah, and if you want to go, and you'll get the specifics of where it's at. Yeah, well, you need to go. Yes. Is there an online option if somebody can't make either of these? Do you know?
I don't know if REMIF has one. I know that the law does allow for curriculum to be developed.
Online.
I also know that actually Myers-Nave we're coordinating between in the region with the different cities to put, you know, just in case folks can't make these, but to have another training with other, that folks could go to.
So this is what Liebert Cassidy Whitmore is going to be the presenter of this through Remus contracting with them to present this. So the one in Fortuna is going to be at the River Lodge Conference Center in Fortuna. The one in Ukiah is at the council chambers in Ukiah. And the one in Healdsburg will be at the Villa Annex in Healdsburg. So,
Are we going to get an email on those times, please?
I'm going to the Villa. I'm going to the Villa in the afternoon.
pardon?
Okay.
The Villa Annex.
Oh, annex, yes, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so, okay, so that's the end of mine. Mary Ann, you had something?
Yeah, just a quick one. You mentioning the solar reminded me. We're, the Performing Arts Center Board, we just figured out now that we have, we're only about $2,000 short to the new roof, but we are in the second round and almost to the third round in a grant to solarize this building.
Wow.
For a $50,000 grant for the solar panels. So
Excellent.
I thought that was good. And if anybody is interested in, there's a, Mike McGuire called me this morning, and Jim Wood and Mike and representatives from all of the cannabis agencies in the state are meeting up in Ukiah this Thursday night at 6 o'clock to answer any questions, and it covers Sonoma County too. So it would be, if anybody listening in or you have friends that are in the industry, they can actually give them their 2 cents. So 6 o'clock in Ukiah.
Good. Thank you. Any other council comments? Okay, go to our student liaison, Samantha. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah.
Okay. So on February 20th last week, we had the annual remembrance of Courtney J. Davis and several other students by several volunteers handing out yellow flowers with students' names and the days they died and what they were battling with. So that was a very nice day. Everyone was walking around with yellow flowers in order to remember them, show them respect. And tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m., students will be selling tickets at the East Gym for the annual Mr. Eagle competition, which is a male beauty pageant, and it helps to fundraise for the senior class and our senior trip. And also, we're still continuing to work on the wall project that was given to us by the Cloverdale Arts Alliance and other members of the community. We're starting to begin the process of building the actual structures. We have all our materials gathered. We just need to find a day and a time to actually get together and do them. And also, last Wednesday, the boys and girls basketball teams competed in their playoffs, and the boys suffered a defeat, and the girls won, moving on to the next seed in their bracket. However, the following Saturday, they lost, so that was the end of the basketball season for those students. And although this isn't confirmed yet, there's been some talk about doing the possible March 14th 17-minute walkout in response to the Parkland shootings in Florida. It would be a 17-minute walkout in order to pay respect to the 17 students who lost their lives in the shooting, and then we would return back to class. And also, I heard that we were going to try and talk with the district about that. I believe our president, Hannah Bareshi, was going to speak with them in order to see if we could figure something out on how to handle it. And that's all I have to say.
Great. What date was the walkout scheduled? March?
March 14th.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. And just as a reminder, our May meeting, I don't have the date, but it would be helpful if you and Everett could be at our city school subcommittee meeting, because we're going to recognize the sponsors for the scholarships. So, do you have that date?
No. What day was it again?
Linda, could you make a note to send that to both Everett and Samantha? Great, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to legislative report. Anything?
No.
City manager report?
Just a couple quick comments. Citrus Fair was a smash hit. I'm happy to hear that Vice Mayor Russell was happy with the tchotchkes, your swag. We as staff purchased what we thought was an adequate quantity of materials, and Saturday was such a big day at the fair. It was gone by Sunday, and you just can never predict with the Citrus Fair how big it's going to be. I know Saturday was a gigantic day. Happy to report, the police department reported to me there were no disturbances, a couple of medical aids, but otherwise it was a fun, safe event, and I think people had a great time. In terms of just other things to, I think just hearing what student liaison said, it might be appropriate. I can look it up, but I know this council has taken in a position as a formal resolution related to assault weapons and supporting the assault weapons ban, and that might be something that we could, if the council's interested, I believe you took that position back in 2013. It's been quite some time ago, but we can go back and find that resolution and bring it forward to you, because I think it's really topical with what the stage of current events, and just so that the students know that this council supports their movement. And one last thing is staff spending a lot, staff personally, spending a lot of time preparing for the retail cannabis dispensary item. And I think for people watching here or watching on the TV, know that the next council member or the next council meeting, our plan is to present to this council the application process for the retail cannabis dispensary process. So that it might be a long night. Because there's a lot of interest, and we had some really good proposals that would come in. So that's going to be March 13th.
Great.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Yes.
Paul, when you say the process, are we actually going to see the applications, or are you just going to tell us what the process was?
No, you're actually, we are going through with the city attorney's office right now, and going through a process of taking sensitive information, business and personal information, as well as security information out of the proposals, so that they are in a way that they can be shown to the public and the council. But there are some, as you can imagine, there are some sensitive security details within those proposals, which are protected sensitive information, and we will not be disclosing that. You'll be seeing all the numeric results from your senior staff scoring the proposals. We'll be giving you short descriptions of the proposals with strength and weakness discussions, but then overall numeric value. And then you'll be having a discussion of the interviews with the overall numeric values that were given by your senior staff to each one of the interviews, with brief discussions of the highlights of each one of the interviews. The plan is that the proposers would be given 15 minutes to make presentations to this council, which will be a very controlled 15-minute period. We've allowed them to submit up to 10 PowerPoint slides. And then the council will be able to ask questions of each proposer, and we'll go through that. And then my suggestion at that point that you would open up for public expression after that process. The order of the proposals will be done randomly. Staff is going to get together on Thursday, and we will draw names from a hat to determine who goes first, second, and third. And our hope as your staff is we'll be able to provide all the information that this council and community needs to select a maximum of 2 dispensaries for the community.
One more follow-up question. Of the 3 that submitted applications, were the locations of their operations on those forms as well?
And I would just say yes, in order not to get too much into the discussions here, since the item's not on the agenda and due to some conflict issues. But yes, the applications do have locations, I believe, on them.
Okay. And I'm going to push you just a little bit. Will the I know in the policy that the landlord of the properties had to agree to the operation being there, and I take it letters from the landlords were included in those packages.
And we'll definitely follow up with that comment. And again, just not to push back, but just
Okay.
don't want to get too much into that discussion here.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. We'll go to the city attorney report then.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Council direction on future items for the agenda? Seeing none? Well, thank you. I want to thank staff. I want to thank everybody for being here this evening, and we are going to adjourn our regular meeting of the City Council, Cloverdale Community Development Accessory Agency, to Tuesday, March 13th, 2018, for closed session. It's set at 5 p.m. At the City Hall Conference Room, and our public session will be at 6 p.m. here, Performing Arts. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.